My first one, and I'd like everybody to repeat them and that after me as well. I'm going to be happy.
I'm going to be happy.
I'm going to smile a lot.
I'm going to smile a lot.
I'm going to skip.
I'm going to skip lunch.
I'm going to be easy.
I'm going to be.
I'm going to count my blessings.
I'm going to count my blessings.
Happiness is, I am going to look for reasons to feel good.
Happiness is, I'm going to look for reasons to feel good.
I'm going to dig up positive things from the past.
I'm going to dig up positive things from the past.
I'm going to look for positive things where I stand.
I'm going to look for positive things where I stand.
I'm going to look for positive things in the future.
I'm going to look for positive things in the future.
It is my natural state to be a happy person.
It is my natural state to be a happy person.
It is natural for me to love and to laugh.
It is natural for me to love and to laugh.
This is what is most natural for me.
This is what is most natural for me.
I am a happy person.
I am a happy person.
Time to be happy, everyone.
Time to be happy. Time to be happy, everyone. Yay.
There you go.
Thank you, Christina, for that. I'm so happy you've done that.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to introduce our lovely, fantastic guest speaker for today, Greg Smith. Welcome. Greg Smith, a professional curler, member of the LGBTQ plus community, and former and current political candidate. On many occasions, he's won when he ought not to. He was not victorious every time. The attitude and mindset he says that he's learned over the years has certainly benefited him at times and have helped prevail when perhaps not expected to. And he's looking forward to sharing, and his topic today is how to win when you shouldn't. So I'll pass it now along to Mr. Greg Smith. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for the nice introduction, and thanks for having me. It is a sunny Saturday, which I don't think when we woke up this morning we thought it was going to be that. So that is certainly a blessing there that we can count. So my talk today is going to be on how to win when you shouldn't. It'll be on thinking like a winner, even in situations where you think the outcomes are against you, and the habits we can adopt every day to be victorious over the day. So before we get going, I'm going to do, I think everybody is in Newfoundland on the island, am I right? So where we are, I'm going to do a land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we respectfully acknowledge the land on which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, whose culture has been erased now forever. We acknowledge the island of Katmakuk as the unceded traditional territory of the Beothuk and Mi'kmaq. We recognize all First Peoples who were here before us, those who live with us now, and the 7 generations to come. As First Peoples have done since the time of immemorial, we strive to be responsible stewards of the land and to respect the cultures, ceremonies, and traditions of all who call it home. So I'm going to start kind of on how I got here until my first win, and then how that kind of transformed me into a person that started believing in myself a bit more. So when I talk about how to win when I shouldn't, I think many times in my own personal life, from the outside looking in and probably from the inside looking out, I would have been surprised that I was able to win something or to do something good or great. So I grew up, I have 2 amazing parents and they're absolutely wonderful, but we grew up and we didn't have a ton. So when I got into sports, my father was a semi-pro soccer player, but for me, I remember playing soccer growing up for years and years and years, and I wanted to actually get onto the All-Star team, which was something I was hoping for and thinking that I could do. And then I realized that it wouldn't be possible because, we didn't have the money to do so. And I remember looking and talking to my dad and saying, how come this kid who's literally 4 foot and he can kick the ball only the length of himself is on the team? So at that moment, I started realizing that what I was going to do and what sports I was going to do and whatever I'd do, I would make sure that those things I would try to eradicate and that I would get there based on my merits. So I got into curling when I was 8, and I've loved politics since I was 8, which is kind of kind of dorky and kind of interesting. And then I got into bowling too. So when I got into curling, and curling was something that really has transformed my entire life. And it was kind of interesting. I was at the country club, or I was down at the curling club as one of the kids who, was a keener, but obviously, we didn't have a car, we didn't have the things to go to a provincial or whatever. So it was kind of interesting. But I made sure that my work, even as a kid, was important to where I wanted to go. But we all have self-limiting beliefs. So in my head, I always compared myself to the kids who had more money, and they had more resources, and they had parents with, bigger social circles. So I thought at that moment that the only chance that I would ever win would be until the kid above me, who's now a friend of mine and has been for a few years, until he aged out, that's when I would win. We always set those self-limiting beliefs in ourselves, and we always think that as people, we can only do so much, and that there's somebody that is better than us. But we are the ones that are responsible for our work ethic, and we're the ones that are responsible for how we look at ourselves and the work what we do, whatever that may be. So I remember it was a very, very pinnacle turning point for me. I lost a provincial final when I was 18, and it was just devastating. And it was my first chance at a national. And then the next year, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to get a brand new team. I'm going to go at it, and I'm really going to practice. So, and more than I already did. So we ended up winning, and it was against the people that my entire life, since I was 8, that I thought that I would have to wait until they aged out of juniors for me to end up to go. And it was very validating. It was very rewarding. And at that moment, I think in my entire life, it was when a light bulb kind of, turned on. And I realized you don't need to base your merits on anybody else. It needs to be on you and what you can do and what you can offer to a situation, and your leadership and your love and your work ethic. All those things are what matter. So, then I got the taste of winning, which was kind of nice. However, since then, I've learned how to lose, and I mean lose on paper. So I think that it's very important for us as people to realize that it is our perception of what is a win or a loss. If I ended up going to the supermarket today and I didn't snag the last bag of tater tots that was on sale, you know what? I got to let it go. You have to find a way to look at every situation and kind of transform that situation as opposed to a win or a loss, whether it is something huge and it is, a provincial final, or you might have, you might have been laid off or whatever. You have to kind of look at those things as a way forward. I genuinely believe as a person, everything happens for a reason, whether that's God or the universe or whatever. I think that there's a reason for everything that happens in our lives, even the things that are so terrible. You can learn something from that, and it'll carry you into the next stage of your life. When I got, into that stuff, and then my first curling big loss was against my now teammate in 2017, and it was devastating. But when I lost that, I realized shortly after, things do happen for a reason. And even your hard work doesn't always reflect things in life. And it is your perception of that. And knowing that you left everything on the table and you did everything that you could to bring to a situation, no matter what it is, to be as good as you could. So I lost that as a queer man. We both call each other Judies. So I lost it to my now Judy. It was kind of funny. But then the next year, I ended up winning and going to the Briars, the youngest ever skip for Newfoundland and Labrador. And I was so proud of my team, and we were the complete underdogs. We didn't lose a game the week. But it was all about mindset, and it's all about vision. And those were the things that kind of carried me through. That loss in 2017 would have been something that if we made to nationals, we might have been on the podium. But however, we didn't make it there. It is about your perception of what things are. I think that's so huge. If a roadblock comes, but your vision is still there, it is just a roadblock. Growth is not a straight line. There's going to be waves. There's going to be everything thrown at you. So I think as people, we have to really realize that you don't know what's happening tomorrow, but don't think today is your biggest moment. Well, you can in the good ways, but you don't want to do it in the bad ways. You will not remember it in 5 years' time. I certainly am haunted by the shot I missed, but I do sleep at night. So I want to talk about a few things that I brought into my daily life, and a few things that I brought into, whether it's sports, politics, personal growth, or whatever, that have really made a huge impact on me. And I think it was like 2015, 2016, I want to say. This woman completely transformed my everyday life. And I wonder how many of you have heard of Mel Robbins. And she's just incredible. So the 5-second rule is something that I actually use daily. So have any of you heard of Mel Robbins? Yes?
Yes, we did. Yeah. I'm reading the book now.
Oh, no way. She is
I
incredible.
put it down about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, definitely heard.
Absolutely incredible. So I remember watching her first TED Talk, and then reading a bit of the 5-second rule, listen to her podcasts. It was really captivating for me and really interesting to kind of figure out we have 5 seconds to act on things. So whether I'm out for a drink and I see somebody and I want to go get their number, I can talk myself out of that really quick in 5 seconds. But in the same way, when I'm in the Mary Brown's parking lot and I realize that I've already ate about 10 minutes ago, I should realize that I can talk myself out of that too, in a good way. Nicole's laughing. So that is something that has really been impactful for me. So the 5-second rule, I try to share that with as many people as I can because I think it's so important. It's so transformative. When you're in a situation, no matter what it is, and you don't know what is the next step, kind of, get rooted, get talking to yourself. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What are you doing? Actually, now in curling, I've made it a part of my pre-shot routine for every shot because I'm an incredibly high-strung person, and some of you might know that. So I'm all go, go, go. When I'm in the hack, I want to calm myself and I want to really, make sure I'm visualizing the shot and I'm in the moment. So for me, what I do is I actually count down from 5, I visualize, and I just go. And obviously I still miss shots and I do all the things right in the hack, but that's kind of the whole thing. And also when I'm in a situation that I'm incredibly stressed out about, whether maybe politics, maybe tomorrow night when I have to give a speech, that is going to be quite stressful. However, get rooted, talk yourself 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get back in the moment. And I think that is really, really important to get grounded in that. The other quote, and Mel Robbins talks about it quite a bit, but I think it's an important quote, and it's by Peter McWilliams. The only difference between fear and excitement is what we label it. So our body actually, physiologically treats them both the same. So, you're sweating, you're nervous, whatever, but those are the things that are kind of strange. They're two opposite emotions, but the way that we treat it is very, very drastically and quite detrimental. When we're fearful and when we're in a very stressful situation, we just have to realize that our body is just excited. And maybe like tomorrow night, same example, like about the 5-second rule, I'm gonna have to get up and I'm gonna have to talk to 50 people. Hopefully 50 people show up, but I'm gonna have to get up and talk to 50 with their masks on, of course. I'm going to be stressed out, but I'm going to have to tell myself I'm excited. I'm doing something that I want to do in that moment. That is exactly what I need to tell myself and to get grounded and get rooted in that. The other 2 things that I want to talk about this morning too, visualization, self-talk, and imagery. And a lot of those lessons in my life, and I carried them from sport into my everyday life. And it was from our sports psychologist back in 2018. I don't know if anyone is familiar. He's local, and his name is John Rowe. And he's absolutely okay.
A good friend of mine.
No, he's incredible. Will you tell him I mentioned him in the talk today?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, he's wonderful.
He is incredible.
He's very good. So we worked with him going into the 2018 season, and some of those things I actually carried into my everyday life. Visualization is something I don't think people practice enough. If you don't have vision in any way, whether it's sports or for your life or whatever, you're kind of stuck in a rut in a sense. So you have to look at where you want to go, where you envision yourself and what that feels like. So what he would say to us is kind of bring in all of the senses. I close my eyes, I picture walking out onto arena, hopefully no one booing me, hearing the sounds, smelling the smell, everything was engaged, and kind of walking yourself through even your physiological reactions. So I think in our own lives, it's not just for people in sports. I think it's something that everybody can use, and I do use it in other ways. I visualize myself, on election night giving up and giving a speech. I visualize myself at the Briar someday on the podium. I visualize myself even in a thinner body than I have right now. But you know what? It's COVID. But visualization is really important. So I think that we don't do that enough. And just to kind of see where we want to see ourselves. Because if we can't visualize what that looks like for us, how are we supposed to reach it? We're not, right? So I think that is incredibly important to kind of envision what you think that moment is going to look like for you in your biggest success, in love, or whatever it may be. So I think that those are really important. Self-talk is something that I think that is so. I actually heard this from John Rowe, and I also heard this from. It was I did this with Phyllis Reardon a bit on she's talking about self-limiting beliefs. I did something with her 2015 as well. 2015. It's so important. What we tell ourselves is got to be good. If we wouldn't talk to our best friends the way that we talk to ourselves, then that is not what we should do. So I know for a fact sometimes I look in the mirror, I'm like, Greg, come on now. You didn't eat those taters last night. You don't look good. You're not going to find a date. Or you say something to yourself that just like in every way situation, you can't do it. You're not good enough. You're not worthy. But we would never say that to our best friends, and we would never say it to someone we love. So we need to talk to ourselves as if we are someone we love, because we should love ourselves. And I think that's really, really important. When we tell ourselves that we can't do something, well, we're right. We're not going to be able to do it. I think that's where the law of attraction kind of comes back into play, is that what you envision or what you say to yourself, you're kind of bringing it to fruition. So you're not going to succeed if you say can't. You're not going to do those things. So, and your biggest fears will, they will happen. You have to, and I think at the beginning that they're talking about, abundance and stuff like that. And I think that that's very important. If you think that the world is out to get you, well, God, it is. If you think the world is full of blessings and the world is full of light and love and great things, you're going to attract those things into your daily life. And also when the bad things happen, you're not even going to notice them. You're just going to focus on the person that smiled at you walking down the street when you were having a shitty day. You're going to focus on all of the good in the world. And obviously, terrible things still happen. But when you have that mindset of positivity and of love and of joy, and that everything is in harmony for you, you're going to see that. And I think that that is incredibly important. The last thing that I want to talk about this morning, and things that I've kind of brought into my everyday life that I think that are incredibly important, and that is body language. If we carry ourselves in a good way, the way we walk around, I'm not saying you have to walk down the street as if you're on Rodeo Drive. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still in La Marchant. Who's going to see you? But you still have to walk positively. However, the thing is, I was so fascinated by this TED Talk, and I was so fascinated by the science behind it, that I was actually quite methodical and implement it in my everyday. However, I don't think it's a good idea to be power posing at a job interview, and I don't think you should power pose at a wake. So maybe know the places where you should and should not power pose, but those are very beneficial. So having open and positive body language with this, your hands on your hips, arms back here, whatever it may be, and even just a smile on your face. The science behind it, that when you are in these high power poses for 2 minutes, you have a 20% increase in testosterone. So in the confidence hormone. That is so important. So when you're feeling sluggish, you're feeling down, you're feeling kind of crappy, put your hands on your hips, smile, right? Get a glass of water, do what you're going to do. But those are really important. And then also when you're in low power poses, the opposite effect. So when your shoulders are over, you're touching your neck, you have closed body language, there's a 10% decrease in testosterone when you do that for 2 minutes. So you're going to kind of, lower yourself, and you're going to be a bit more lackluster if you're in those poses more often. So I think that, people need to really remember and be mindful when you're caught in those situations, when you should kind of be in a more confident position, and what that will physiologically do for you. The other side of that, so testosterone obviously is the confidence hormone, but cortisol is the stress hormone. So when you're in high power positions and poses, you have a 25% decrease in cortisol, which is incredible. Like you can really, really lower how much you're stressed, increase, and this is all, intertwined. So you can increase your confidence and lower your stress just by the way you are standing, which is quite something. Also, if you're in low power positions, you will bring up your cortisol by 15%. When I'm curling now, or when I'm in a situation, I'm actually incredibly mindful that I stand there like a little queen that I am, with my hands on my hips, which is a little bit weird, and my teammates sometimes make fun of me. But I'm like, listen, I gotta breathe, right? I gotta do the 5-second rule. I gotta have my hands on my hips, and I gotta chew 47 pieces of gum. Do what you gotta do. That is incredibly important. So I think that implementing those things into my everyday life have been really important. Kind of looking at losing not as a loss, but as a lesson, and kind of looking at it as, the bigger picture, and kind of where is the next step, where you're going to go. I think that that's very important. And on another note, there is actually science behind why I chew so much gum. However, when you're chewing gum, you've tricked your brain into thinking you're eating, so you're not in a stressful position. I make sure that I'm chewing a bunch of gum. However, if I get on council, I don't think I can be chewing wads of gum on a council meeting. So I have to be quite mindful and methodical about my chew. So but that's my talk for today. I'm so grateful that you had me on this morning. And I think that a few of those things, implementing them into your daily life, it's made a world of difference for me. I'm obviously not, I don't think anyone is. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I envision where I want to go. And I know that I will get there. And I think that, visualization, self-talk and imagery, implementing parts of the law of attraction in your life, power posing, and I think the 5-second rule is a good one too. So I think bringing them into your life is so important. And at the end of the day, you can always get to where you want to go, but you got to believe in yourself, and you have to make the right steps in order to do so. Thank you.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Greg. That was a fantastic speech.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Your tips and points and words of advice. Very fantastic. Thank you. If anyone would like to have something to say, some questions to ask to.
I don't have a question to ask, Greg, but I just wanted to say, when I read your bio, I could feel your energy, and I said, I need to be there. And you provided, I love your energy. I'm so grateful I was here this morning. I truly believe in everything that you say, and I try to live and breathe it, but you presented it in a new way for me to understand it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hopefully there was no spelling errors in my bar when I sent that over. So I hope I didn't send over any energy of illiteracy.
It was great. It was great, Greg. I just wanted to make a comment too, because I feel like you kind of spoke to the positive thinkers. The power poses, we implement those into our affirmations. We encourage the power poses, and it's so powerful just to put power poses with affirmations, and the visualizing where you want to be in the future. It's so important. And I think you just truly spoke to our club and what our initiative is. So thank you for that.
I'm just going to say thanks, because I was the one that was dying to hear Greg speak, and actually already knew him. We were lucky enough to have him coach my nephew. I guess, Greg, probably 10 years ago now. Would it be that long ago? Anyway, and we just, who knew who Greg Smith was when he was just a coach for my nephew starting a new sport, and he's a pretty shy little guy. So watching Greg, and Greg being who he is now, not just a coach at the curling club, but such an advocate for all his groups and all his beliefs, I just couldn't be more proud to actually hear some of him speak right now, because we just see each other, but I've never heard him speak, and I so look forward to more of it as he makes his way to all the people that need to think this way. And thanks, Greg, for everything you do for everybody around you. You're a force to be reckoned with.
Thank you so much. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you over the past few years. You're a beautiful soul. I love you.
You're awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Is there any other questions or anything like that?
Greg, Dave Radofsky here, one of the co-founders. Thank you very much for a fabulous presentation. You've said many of the things that we've been living and believing for the last 32 years.
Mhm.
But we do want to attract a younger audience.
Thank you so much. I gotta try to get 96 signs up across the city by the end of the day.
I'm on for that too.
Good luck in your campaign. Best of luck in your
Thank
campaign.
you, Greg.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Have a great weekend,
Really
everybody.
enjoyed it. Power pose for your mouth, your face, corners of your mouth turning up.
That's right.
Thank you.
Wonderful. It was a great way to start our morning.
Yeah,
I
it really was.
really appreciate everybody who showed up and with such a great speech. Let's just say, have a great day, and meeting is adjourned.
To our guest speaker for August, we do have somebody booked. August 28th, Stephanie Russell, and she is a life coach and also very motivational speaker. She's gladly volunteered to be our guest speaker for our last online before September. Looking forward to it.
And that's all I have to say for today. Thank you, and the meeting's adjourned again.